Hey guys, in this video what we're going to do is add subscriptions to the UI so I can get real-time updates when I'm chatting. Now to do this we need to make a change to our controller, at least something in that package. So it's our view messages component that we made, and this just, if you remember, calls the messages query, and this grabs the messages for that we're displaying right there. So another parameter that we can grab from the query is something called subscribe to more, and this allows us to actually call a subscription. And now we're going to use this to subscribe and call our subscription and then update this query so we see more messages being displayed. Now before we get started doing all this, we're going to be making a few changes to the controller, and I'm going to want to see the changes in the UI. So I don't want to come over here and do yarn build every time I make a change. And I mentioned in those cases what I like to do is tell TypeScript to watch the files. So I'm going to create a new script here, and it's going to be just TypeScript watch. So now TypeScript will automatically watch for changes and then update accordingly, so I don't have to build every time. So I'm going to go ahead and say yarn watch in my controller right here. Now I have my dist full right now, so it doesn't like it. If you get those same errors, you can just remove your whatever folder you have. So for me, I call it dist. This is where the outputted TypeScript code goes. And then now I recompile and it works okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with this. And I'm just going to make sure fail to compile because it couldn't find that. I'm just going to restart the web server real quick. And it should be able to start up okay with that. And we'll refresh that guy too. Alright, so this subscribe to more function I was talking about. So what we're going to do is add a function onto the props called subscribe. And what subscribe is going to do is it's going to be a function that they just call, and it's going to subscribe them to the changes, and it's going to return a function. So the function that they call subscribe is going to return itself a function, and this function is going to allow them to unsubscribe. But we'll talk about that a little bit down the line. So let's go ahead and add that right here. So I'm going to say subscribe, and now when they call this function, what it's really going to call is subscribe to more. And here we're going to pass all the things. Now I'm not sure what it's mad about right now. Subscribe does not exist in type with view messages. Oh, I meant to add it up here. So we want to add it with this because we want to pass it as data for the child to grab. Alright, so let's start, and the first thing we need to do is our document. This is going to be just like we have to add a GQL, what we want to query, we need to do what we want to subscribe. So I'm going to say export const, I guess new message subscription. So you go GQL, and then we're going to plug in our subscription here. I'm going to just come over here and go to localhost 4000. That's where my server's at. And let's unzoom a little bit. And I'm going to come over here and we can write our subscription. So I'm going to name the subscription. And I don't think we even need to name it because I don't think we need TypeScript types for it. Or you know what? I don't even know if we do or not. So I'm not sure whether we need TypeScript types. If I hover over this, I can check. So when I hover over this, I don't see anything I can pass in. At least, like for example, a type. So it doesn't look like I need TypeScript types, so I don't have to run gen types when I add this. Anyway, though, we need to add, looks like one variable called listing ID. So I'm going to say right here, $listing ID is a string. And let's move this over. So this is required, and we'll move this over. Okay, so there's a required string they have to pass in, and listing ID, and the thing we want to get back is the text, the listing ID, and by the way, we want to just get the same thing back as we do here, so I'm going to copy that, paste that in, get rid of that. I'm going to prettify it. Now I can copy this and paste it in. All right. And now this is what we're going to use as our document. So new message subscription. Next thing you can notice there's variables and there's update query. So let's pass in our variable real quick. So the variable we need to pass in here, as you saw right here, is called listing ID, and we get that from the props. So let's go ahead and just pass listing ID right in there. Lastly, update query. So this is a function that takes the previous value and the subscription data. And I'm not sure why this is angry right now. Oh, it shouldn't be void. Oh yeah, we should return something. We'll fill that in a second. So previous is all the messages that we have, and I find it really helpful to just console log both of these values, because I always forget exactly what each one looks like, and to update this correctly, you need to make sure you know what each one looks like, because Apollo is very specific about how it wants it. And then for now, I'm just going to return previous. So if I just return previous, nothing is going to change when a subscription is fired. And the reason for that is because this is the new item. This has the new data in it. So we have to actually change what previous is right here and return a new value. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see if it updated everything. Looks like server's up and good to go. I can close this now. And let's center and zoom in a little bit. Okay. Let's inspect, and now we should see when I fire this off something in our console. So I'm just going to say hi to, send the message. I don't see anything. I wonder if these are getting removed. So I don't think I have it removing console logs, and I'm not sure if that's even a TypeScript setting. Console. Yeah, I think it's just, I was thinking there's a setting in tsconfig where you can remove comments, I think. Yep, remove comments, but there's not one for removing, for example, consoles. I'm not sure if my watch command is broken. Looks like something's wrong with watch. Looks like I'm just going to have to do yarn build the old-fashioned way right now. I was thinking that might save us a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's happy. And now we're going to rebuild and restart that. So we'll let that restart, and in the time being we can also add a quick if statement here. So if subscription.data, if we don't get anything, so for whatever reason we've subscribed, we don't get any more data, we want to go ahead and just return what the previous value is. Now here is where we want to update previous with new data, because this section is where we actually get something new, which we'll see in a second here. So hopefully we can now see that. I'm going to say hi 3. Oh, you know what? It may not be a problem with that. Our problem is we never actually called that. So let's actually call subscribe over here. And now I don't want to subscribe every time this thing is rendered. So what I'm going to do is say unsubscribe. And this guy is going to be, actually I don't have to say let. This guy is going to be a function like this. So I'm going to say if unsubscribe. So if this thing is null or whatever, which at first it is, we're going to say unsubscribe is equal to subscribe. So perfect. So now every time this renders, it'll only call it once. Oh, and I haven't saved this, but I don't think I put anything new. All right, so let's say hi 4. And here's what I wanted to show you guys. So previous looks like this, and now you can see all the messages that we have up here. So it has all the previous messages. And subscription data, if we click on that data, it has this thing called new message, and new message is what we want to add to the messages. And now we have the power, if we want to add new messages to the beginning or to the end, whatever we want, or really update this in any fashion that we'd like. But what we're going to do is say subscription.data.newMessage. That's going to have this object with the data that we care about, and we're going to add that to our list over here. So let's go ahead and do that. So now over here, I'm going to say ... previous. And now we know there's a key called messages, which is an array. So I'm going to say ... previous.messages. So here I'm keeping everything the same. So far I've appended no new data to this. Now, if I want to, I can append it to the beginning up here or the bottom down here. I'm going to choose to do it at the bottom or at the end, if you will. So I'm going to say subscription data.new message. I think was the key. Yep, it says new message here. Now it looks like for whatever reason the TypeScript type is messed up here. I'm not actually sure how to get the type correct on this. So in these cases, I like to just cast it to anything. And now I believe we're good to go. Let's try this out. I think it should update. So let's go ahead and build this. And now every time we get a new subscription, we're going to keep all the previous messages, and we're just going to add the new message at the end of the list. And okay, every time we build it, I see it's going to just crash. And now both of these guys, when they start up, are going to subscribe whenever they first render. And we have this function over here called unsubscribe. We can actually call this to stop subscribing to new messages. So I actually kind of just want to add a button to show you guys that, called unsubscribe. And on click is just going to call this .unsubscribe. So you're going to see whenever I click this unsubscribe button that we're no longer going to get subscriptions over here, and we're not going to see console logs. So let's refresh both of these. So I have my tab up over here. Let's open the tab up over here. So let's say high five, send message, and now it looks like subscriptions are working properly because I saw it immediately appear here, immediately appear here. Let's try it over here. Cool. So now if I click on unsubscribe, if I come and do high 7, you'll notice we subscribed over here, but nothing happened over here. So that's how you can actually turn off subscriptions if you like as well. It's just call this subscribe function or unsubscribe function that we get after subscribing. So that's it for this video, guys. That's how you can subscribe to updates and new things and update the UI accordingly.